Returning in triumph! When I came back from the Rogue Wars, I found my best friend, Selena, the Luna of Blood Moon Pack, eating almonds, the same almonds that could kill her. I sat across the dining table and watched her toss the fifth one into her mouth. Selena caught my stare. She smiled and slid the dish towards me.
Want some? This batch came from the Southern Territory. They taste amazing. Unbelievable. Selena was allergic to almonds. Severely allergic. The kind that closed her throat shut.
When we were 12, the pack threw a big bonfire. Selena accidentally swallowed a piece of cake with crushed almonds in it. She went into anaphylactic shock on the spot. Her lips swelled up like 2 fat sausages, her airway sealed completely. A few warriors carried her on their shoulders, sprinting to the pack doctor. The old man forced 3 full syringes of antidote down her throat before he dragged her back from the edge. After that day, she would walk the other way just from the smell of almonds. Every time we went to the market, she checked every ingredient label twice. But now she was chewing them, one after another. No pain, no reaction, nothing. It reminded me of 3 months ago, the night before I deployed. Selena came to the Silverflang estate to find me. She looked terrified. She grabbed my arm and dragged me into the darkest corner of the backyard.
Kira, I need to tell you something. You have to remember this. What is it?
She squeezed my hand. Her fingers were ice cold.
If you come back and find me eating almonds...
She paused. Her eyes were dead serious.
That person is not me.
I thought it was a joke. What are you talking about? You're the Luna of Blood Moon Pack. Who could possibly impersonate you? Selena didn't smile. Not even a little.
Kira, promise me. Remember this. No matter how much she looks like me, sounds like me, smells like me, if she eats almonds, she is not me. Think of it as our code.
I looked at the fear in her eyes and stopped laughing.
Okay, I'll remember.
She let out a breath and hugged me.
Little wolf, be careful out there. I'll be waiting for you.
If that was true, then the woman sitting across from me right now was a fake Selena. And where was the real one?